Thanks for that, Katie. It's now 48 minutes past the hour. It has been 638 days since the disappearance and death of 13-year-old Tristyn Bailey, and today dozens of potential jurors will be reporting to the St. Johns County Courthouse for jury selection on day one of this trial. Joining us live this morning, we appreciate it, is our legal analyst Janet Johnson. I know it's early. Thank you for waking up with us.
It's all good.
You know, this has been a long time coming for a lot of people wanting to see justice served in the end. I want to get right to things. There's a lot of interesting notes to this, by the way, when it comes to the jury selection. But in particular, we know the defense asked to actually move this out of St. Johns County. The judge said no, but he would reconsider if an impartial jury is not found. What are the issues you foresee coming in this trial when it comes to finding an impartial jury?
Yeah, I mean, Judge Smith left a lot of things open. I've practiced in front of him. I knew him as a prosecutor, very thoughtful, even-tempered judge. He is basically saying, we don't know until we start asking people if they can be fair and impartial, because we have to remember the question isn't, have you heard of this case? Because everyone in St. Johns County will have heard of it. The question is, have you heard too much about it so that you can't be fair and impartial? And would moving it to Jacksonville, would moving it to other parts of the state, would that even change anything? Because it's getting national attention. So he's going to wait and see what the jurors say.
Now, Janet, we had a chance to chat before all of this. Something very interesting I do want to talk about is the number. We're looking for 6 impartial jurors here, not the traditional 12 because of Aiden's age. So let's get into that.
Yeah, I mean, this is really a huge issue. And I think if there's going to be an appeal, this may be the thing that comes back. If there's a conviction, the judge doesn't reconsider. If you or I were charged with this crime, we would get 12 jurors. It's a capital offense. We're looking at the death penalty or mandatory life. Because of his age, even though he's in adult court, his sentencing is not going to be, if he's convicted, what you or I would get. So he is looking at the maximum of life, but essentially, you know, after 25 years, he could get out, not what an adult would get. So what the prosecution argued, and successfully, is he shouldn't get the 12 that you get for a capital. He should get 6 jurors, which is what you would get if you were charged with a DUI. And the reason this is so significant is because the prosecution would have to convince 12 people to convict a young man, a child, and in this case, they're only going to have to convince 6. It's a lot easier task for them.
That's a very interesting point people need to keep in mind throughout
kind of a law geek issue.
Definitely so. Janet, I want to talk about this, what the attorneys will be looking for. This is a high-profile case, right? Which you're familiar with. We know you are with these types of cases. So I want to talk about this in particular, a case like this, what the attorneys are looking for in a jury. What are some of the challenges they face?
Well, you know, both sides have challenges because he is a child. So there is going to be an element, both the victim and the defendant are children. So there's an element of sympathy. Do you want a mother who has a child who could be Aiden, but she also has a child who could be Tristyn? Our fathers, you know, men are sometimes more, you know, vindictive, more, you know, eager to see punishment. So there's a whole psychology of that. But really, individually, you're looking for answers of people who say, you know, yes, I've heard about it. I can be fair and impartial. You know, what are my political beliefs? Sometimes that goes into it. You know, am I more liberal? Because if you're a defense attorney like I am, you're looking for more liberal, open-minded people to sit on a jury, quite frankly. So it's going to go to individual questions. Have you been on a jury before? You know, are you going to hold out if you think that there is any scintilla of reasonable doubt? And in the end, you know, you're going to either get 6 people and alternates who say, I can be fair and impartial despite everything I know. And, you know, Judge Smith's going to have to call the balls and strikes on that, because there are a lot of peremptory challenges. There are also for-cause challenges. So if people say, you know, my brother was on a search party looking for Tristyn, anyone who's too involved, those people are going to be struck automatically anyway.
Yeah. Janet, I know you look at these things a lot different than many of us, right? Because you've been entrenched in these types of cases. What should we be looking for in particular as just everyday people watching this trial right now, very invested in it, wanting to see what will happen in the end? Well,
I think what we really have to keep in mind is you don't know if you're going to get people who are going to convict or acquit. And, you know, when I sit in jury selection, my clients will say, well, what do you think? You know, how are these people? Are they going to be good? Well, I have a guess of how they'll be, but in the end, I don't know. And hopefully the jurors don't know, because they're not supposed to make up their mind until they hear all of the evidence. So whoever you get isn't going to have a formed opinion. Otherwise, they're not fair and impartial jurors.
Yeah. Give us some insight. As a defense attorney, like I said, you've been there, done that. What are you looking for today in particular, you?
Personally, I would like women on this jury. I think they're going to relate to him. Now, Aiden is 2 years older, a year older than he was when the crime allegedly was committed, so he doesn't look like the little boy that he looked like. That's something that, as a defense attorney, I'm going to have him dressed as young as possible, not in a tie, not looking like an adult, but people who might be sympathetic to him as a child. And, the idea that while the evidence may be strong, it isn't there beyond a reasonable doubt. Hammer that home with all the potential jurors.
Janet, again, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. And you'll be with us throughout the duration of this trial. We'll be calling on you for sure for some insight. We appreciate it, folks. The trial begins this morning at 8:30. And we're going to go through this throughout the entire day. What we'll be looking for, a team of reporters and legal analysts will be covering every turn in this trial from gavel to gavel, both on air and online at First Coast News and, of course, First Coast News Plus.